Treason has consequences. When we say the word treason, it conjures up all sorts of images in history. Rebellion has a more nuanced meaning for us, but when it gets used in our passage today, it's clearly being used in the negative sense, like treason. Rebellion against God always puts the rebel on the wrong side. In that case, it's treason. And for us, since our first allegiance is to God and God's kingdom, anytime we conflate God's kingdom with the nations, political parties, or politicians of our day and time, we are committing treason. Much the same way that Ephraim and Israel did, as outlined in our passage. When we grow so prosperous and proud of our own accomplishments that we begin to believe we don't need God or God's grace, we begin to fall prey to the rebellion and treason that sets us at odds with God. We act in unjust and inhumane ways, convincing ourselves that we are justified by thin scriptural proofs and warped and twisted logic, all the while pointing to slivers of our history and tradition to give precedent for our actions. But God's kingdom and our allegiance to it force us to see the grand story of God's vision and mission for the world, and evaluate if our actions and beliefs truly align with God's will and way, with God's love and justice, and with God's grace and action on the cross.